May the words of my mouth and the meditation of mine heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, protect this message. Amen. Amen. Welcome, everybody. How are you all doing? Thankful and grateful to have you on with us again, whether you're joining us live or whether you're joining us later on watching this. If you're joining us live on TikTok, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're joining us later on YouTube, we're thankful and grateful to have you on with us. We're on every rising 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. We're on every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern New York time. Shalom to everybody. Patreon fam, TikTok fam, YouTube fam. The list goes on and on. We appreciate you. And we give all praise once again to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. I give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. And she's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. So feel free to check out what she's doing. And we're thankful and grateful again for you all being on with us. Hey, how you doing, Brother Allen? Minister Tamara, how you doing? Thankful and grateful, again, as always. Thankful for Israel, thankful for my family, thankful for those who agree with us, disagree with us, those who are on the right or the left. I choose to be whole, so I don't really try to lean towards one side or the other. However, we're thankful and grateful for each and every one of you. And tonight, wanted to speak with you all about basically being man-made, an argument that happens all the time. The Bible is man-made, therefore I don't listen to it. A man wrote it, so why would I listen to it? If I had $1 for every time I've heard that in person or even online, especially if I expand that to people who aren't even saying it to me, I would be extremely rich, right? Because the Bible is man-made, that's what people say all the time. Because the Bible is man-made, I don't have to listen to it at all. Why do you listen to it? Hey, how you doing, Sister Kimberly? Shalom, Rooted. How you doing? Right? It's man-made, so I don't have to listen to it. That argument is something I listen to all the time. Matter of fact, we're going to have a conversation about that on Patreon, even though it goes a little bit different way. It's loading up now. The Bible is man-made. Hey, how you doing, Big Brother Thomas? Since the Bible is man-made, I shouldn't listen to it at all, which is a crazy argument. Because first of all, there's tons of things we can talk about. Hey, how you doing, Brother Anthony? Tons of things we can talk about already that just, because first of all, if you believe in the universe, then you can't believe that anything's really technically man-made. I mean, I guess there's things that are man-made as far as man has perverted things, but if you're talking about it's man-made, I mean, heck, if you're saying the whole thing is about there can't be any type of power that we would consider to be higher than ourselves and our humanity. You're talking about divine energy? All right. Hey, how you doing, Charlton Williams? It's always an interesting thing because you guys already know, we talk about this all the time, but if you're going to tell me that you don't believe in a higher power, then why do you believe in the universe? And somebody will immediately go to their scientific texts, which are always cultural. Don't forget that science, just like everything else, is cultural. Religion, government, medicine, it all comes from culture, right? There's a reason why you use the terms for things that you use because of somebody's culture. Thanks for sharing the live, Thomas. And hey, how you doing, Sharice? And by the way, I meant to tell you, had a chance to listen to what you sent with you and Unc. We liked it a lot, like the beat. But Bible is man-made. That's one of the things they go, but it's like, why do you believe in the universe? That's always my question. That's not always, but a lot of times that's my question. Why do you believe in the universe? Well, what do you mean? The universe isn't man-made. The universe came from the Big Bang and this and that or whatever. No, somebody wrote that. A man wrote that. Why do you believe in anything you see? I mean, do you believe in this chair I'm sitting? Do you believe the chair is real? I mean, a man made it. Right? It falls apart very quickly. Hey, Shalom, how you doing, Sister Austria? Argument falls apart very quickly, doesn't it? Right? If we were just think about it sensically, it's man-made, it was written by man. I mean, well, you watch actors all the time, and actors tell you that they literally feel like there's a spirit or something that takes over them, or whatever. Well, that's just something going on in their mind. Okay, well, these actors put together movies, and you watch them, and you deduce things from them. They're man-made. How many people were affected by movies like The Matrix? Was The Matrix not made by men? Heck, technically, I guess some people could say it was made by women now. If you know the history of the brothers that made the movie, right? Either way, it was man-made. And by the way, they weren't even people that made it. It was a woman. It was a real life black woman, shown up black woman, who made the movie in the first place. They stole her script, tried not to give her credit for it. She ended up getting paid anyways. Why would you listen to The Matrix to start? Why do people say we're living in the Matrix? I mean, it's a man-made movie. Why would you use it? Why would you say, make sure that you go and look up something on Google? I mean, it's man-made. Right? Nevertheless, though, once again, not just why do you believe in the universe, but why do you believe in the universe or even use the term universe? Because the word universe means a verse, single spoken sentence. So the universe literally had to be spoken into existence. This is why everybody tries to get crafty and be like, well, I create my own universe. I believe in the law of attraction. I just speak these things. I speak this affirmation, and this affirmation is going to be the only reason why something comes. It's because I spoke it into existence. Well, if you spoke it into existence, it's man-made. You see? But the Bible being man-made is a problem. Now, I don't believe it's man-made. Nevertheless, though, if we were to just go off of what people are saying, well, the Bible is man-made, so we shouldn't listen to it. How you doing, Marion? Shalom, Breezy. I mean, the Bible being man-made, you're okay with the man-made chair. You're okay with man-made currency. All currency is something that we all agree upon that can be used for trade. Isn't that man-made? I mean, you believe in it so much that you didn't mind a man putting "In God We Trust" on it. Because your faith is in that more so than Elohim. Or even false deities, gods, detchers, right? The list goes on and on. Man-made. But you have no problem spending it. See, the whole man-made argument is wild. It doesn't make sense. Your children are man-made. Do you not believe in them? You know, it's a wild argument. It doesn't work. Yeah, we hear people talk about it all the time. That's man-made. That's man-made. I mean, you got people that are going to make sure that they roll a joint. I mean, it's man-made. You know. Right? And then these same people, though, that were arguing that will live by the law that says that if somebody tries to patent what the Most High made, they can't patent it because it's not man-made. You see the cognitive dissonance? The prism, the system, the world, the cosmos of cognitive dissonance is astounding. It's astounding that there is no astuteness. People cannot be astute enough to recognize that while you're making an argument about that which is man-made, you're draped in that which is man-made. Man-made doesn't mean that it's something that doesn't cause you any benefit, right? However, I do recognize that some people will not just realize that the argument is faulty because they want you to do something that they can't do on their end, which is they want you to prove that the Most High is real. But the only way you can do it is to say that you have to do it by trying to say that man made it. You have to use the man-made materials. They want you to use beakers. They want you to use something to prove the Higgs particle. They want you to use scientific notation. They want you to use, which is what their culture says you have to do to prove something. They want you to use through something that they've made, through some instrument, through something that they've created, some kind of measurement they created that they made up. They want you to use it to prove somebody that's outside of what's man-made. How do you do it? It's cognitive dissonance. How you doing, Patrick? Thanks for being on. Shalom, Sean. Shalom, Erdan. How you doing? Long time no talk to you, too, Erdan. Try and check on you one of these days. They want you to use the man-made to prove that which was made that's greater than man. They want you to use man-made theories. Matter of fact, they use man-made theories to disprove God, at least in their own thing. You know, by the way, disproving God is not hard because God and Elohim are not the same being. One is false, one is real. If they even knew that, you know, how much would that mess people up? But they want you to use things that are man-made. But you got to understand, this goes back to culture. It goes back to people's culture. This goes back to people's culture. You said all theories on man are man-made. They come out of our head. They come on. All theories are man-made. Yeah, theories and facts aren't the same thing. And context and facts aren't the same thing. That's why we should use contextual facts. And a lot of theories don't even have proper context. You know, theory of evolution. Now there's theories of evolution that actually pre-exist Darwin, but most people are Darwinistic in their theory. Well, Darwin's whole theory is based off of white people on top, black people on the bottom. Read the original title, Origin of Species, the Theory of Evolution, the Struggle for Survival for Favored Races. Right? Theoretical. The theory based off of, you know, white people got to be better than black people. So we create a whole book on it, that we teach it in school, and it's still taught in schools. It's a theory. I heard, what's her name? Is it Candace Owens? Candace Owens, right? That's the one. Our dear sister, who keeps doing wild stuff. Who keeps going out there trying to do whatever she can to get people to sign off on her humanity by giving it up and denying her own people theirs. I saw something where she was talking about on Fox News or somewhere. They were making it a point to basically, he said she's an agent. I mean, not even an agent at this point, right? Like, or at least if she's an agent, she definitely isn't a secret agent, you know? However, so her whole thing once again is like, black people are the most violent people on the planet. And I thought about it, and I thought to myself, if I was ever in a situation to be on a show with her, I would ask her a question. I would say, what is the greatest Holocaust? You know, because people talk about the Holocaust, right? Yeah, it's not true at all, right? I would just ask her a question. I would say, what is the greatest Holocaust? And she's actually very intelligent, so she's doing this stuff on purpose. She lying, right? But when I asked that, she'd probably be quiet because she wouldn't want to answer, because she would probably know where I'm headed. Because if we would be honest, what's the greatest Holocaust of all time? It don't take that much to be able to figure it out. You only really have one or two answers, and they both deny her claims that black people are the most murderous people to ever exist. Because you either got to answer 10 million plus. Some people will go way above that, right? But being conservative, 10 million plus people who are taken from Africa. And I'm not even talking about the fact that if we want to make us all together, which we are, mixed Omekshi, mixed Yashreel, who's already over, second Esther chapter 13, verses, 40 through 45. Mixed, talking about Columbus came over, had to bring an Israelite interpreter with him. Somebody who spoke Hebrew to be able to talk to the Taino people, who told him that they already had West African people that had been coming over, and they were using the same weapons, Guanine weapons, right? But if we just struck to the slave trade as far as people coming from Africa and not talk about the natives that were killed and all that, right? What is the greatest Holocaust ever? And really, you know what? We can't separate it. Let's just leave it where it is. Because even if you don't believe we're all the same people, we all were killed off by the same people. I could ask a simple question like, when did abortion start? We talked about that this rising. Where did it start? Because we talked about where did it go. Now let's go to where did it start? Who were they aborting? And were those babies? Was there a woman's right to choose what she could do with her body? See, now they've trained it to where women will go ahead and kill their own people and not think twice about whether it is they're choosing to get. But there was a time where you had no choice. They would tie them down to the bed, open their legs up, or sometimes straight up wouldn't wait for the babies to be born, but just straight up take the babies out before they had a chance to be born. Right? She knows that that's foolishness. Black people are the most murderous people on the planet. Basically in America, she's saying, but really she's saying on the planet. Nothing close at all. Hey, how you doing? I'm Minister Select Sonia, Sister Shima. How y'all doing? Jamal, you said, how are we the most violent race when Caucasians have a history of homicide? Yeah, I mean, if we were to say, I'm careful not to use, I get what you mean. I'm careful not to use the word Caucasian because Caucasians are not all white people, right? And even Caucasians, if you look at their story, the reason why people started calling themselves Caucasians is because of people that were into eugenics. And the people that were into eugenics said that there was a guy who basically was studying these skulls of Caucasians, and he became fascinated with the skulls of Caucasians. He said that they had the most beautiful skulls, and so they were enslaving Caucasians at the time. That's how he was doing the work on their skulls, and they were like killing them, and then taking their bodies and studying them. And he said that those particular European people, they had the most beautiful of skulls. That's how they became. And then eventually white people were like, well, if they got the most beautiful skulls, we're going to say that we're them, just like they said that they're Americans, even though the original Americans are us, right? So but I get what you're saying. The whole thing once again is like, if you understand what's going on, it's this whole thing of man-made. The danger is in that, and everybody telling you can't listen to something man-made. All they do is keep making stuff up. Would you say, I don't believe a horror's perfect rated? I don't believe a horror's perfect rated on black people in this country. Shock me, sicken me. Oh, okay. Yeah, Sister Ultra said she's the epitome of black that hate themselves and wish they were born other than. Yeah, well, here's the interesting thing about it is that if you realize and recognize her story, not his story about her, not the new story about her story. She was somebody who hated Donald Trump till she got paid to be on his staff. And she had made him look so bad that they actually said, man, if you can make him look so bad, maybe we can pay you to make him look good. If you don't know, she had a whole online, was it magazine or newspaper? I think it was the online magazine. She was the editor of it. And she hated everything about Donald Trump. She even used to talk about how Donald Trump had a small penis. And she did all these things to talk about, penis envy and all this stuff, and literally came with the thing to say he had a small penis. If you go back further than that, I believe when she was still in high school, could be college. I think it was high school, but could be college. And the white staff mistreated her and did a lot of stuff and did some racist stuff to her. And she went to the NAACP, who now she would tell you is trash. And by the way, the NAACP as a whole, or as a majority, doesn't do what they're supposed to do. Right? I'm with her on that. But she was okay not saying they were trash when they made sure she got paid some money because of how she was mistreated. Look, Candace Owens is just somebody that's out for the highest. She's rented out to the highest bidder. And I'll leave it at that because I want to go a little deeper in that language, but I'm not going to. As much as she messes up her own people, I don't believe that you need to do the same to your people. Right? So I try to protect black women even when they don't necessarily feel like they want that support or protection. but I still try to protect our sisters as much as I can. You know, but she's definitely getting paid, and you know, once again, you're in a position where you have to think to yourself, and forgive me, you know, but you're in a position where once again people keep talking about man-made. You know, but man keeps making stuff up. If men are going to keep making stuff up and they're going to tell you that I shouldn't look at the Bible because it's man-made, I start looking at it and I start looking at the culture and the proper context of it and everything. First of all, I don't believe the Bible's man-made, but when I see the results that come in my life out of the Bible and see how I become sovereign and see how my marriage is flowing and see how I become comfortable with being myself and see how my son has grown in it and my community grows out of it, right? Then what's, you know, if I'm wrong about it, the only thing that I'm wrong about is that when I die, I'm not going to heaven. Let's say if that's a real thing. Now, I don't believe that, but let's say I'm just, for the sake of argument, if all that happens to me is I die and millions of people have been able to hear a message that is a blessing to them, thousands of people have gotten their lives together that I've dealt with personally, hundreds of people are coming together to make sure that they're going to be able to live together and take care of each other. You know, tens of us are constant and consistent in making sure that all that stuff is taken care of. If that's all that comes out of my life because of something that you want to call man-made, I'll take that. Versus you have to straight up lie to be able to deal with what you're doing with man-made, you know? You said you'll be delivered soon? All right. Prayerfully so. The only unforgivable sin is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, right? How you doing, Sister Tracy? So, but here's the deal. We know it's not man-made. At the end of the day, all the stuff we talked about, faith and works and proof and evidence, shows us it's not man-made. And once again, like, you know, they'll have you study Greek mythology in school, and they'll tell you it's a myth. Well, if they have you study it in school, that's somebody's religion. That's man-made. Matter of fact, we know that the Greeks were not all one tribe. They were not all one country for the longest time, and they had different gods. They hired somebody once they all came together. They literally hired someone to be able to make sure that they actually took the gods that they had made up from different cultures and put them together in a nice, neat little story. That's where you get all these new stories that you have from, because they ripped apart all the old ones, hired somebody, right? Paid somebody to be able to take all the different gods and stuff and put them together as one story. And then they presented it to everybody for you, the rest of humanity to see. And now everybody else is studying something man-made. I've even seen, you know, famous actors, and usually they're British for whatever reason, you know, but famous actors come out and start talking about how they can't stand any of these gods and deities and Yahweh and all these people. They hate them and they don't like them and all that, right? But they say, oh, well, when we talk about Greek gods, now that's somebody I'm willing to talk about. That's somebody we should have a discussion about. Why are they saying that? They're saying that because, well, we should have a discussion about them because we made them up, so they're just like us, and they're envious just like us, and they hate people just like us, and they they have depravity just like us, and they drink too much just like us, and they rape people just like them. Yeah. You know, look up Zeus. Look up Zeus. Is Zeus a great character to be around? He's man-made. Look up Zeus. He's a man-made character. What about Zeus is something that you should try to imitate? You know? So what about Scientology and their God? Scientology is about making up stuff too. Scientology says that you can become God or become a God, right? Just like Mormonism does too. A lot of them do. Made up, man-made. Tell you go in the ground and you're going to become the creator of the universe. You're going to become just as powerful. I mean, some of them believe they're just as powerful now. Look, man, he's our brother too, but you can't look at Kanye and tell me that he don't think he's just as powerful as Matter of fact, it wasn't too long ago, remember he tricked everybody and told them that he believed in Jesus, even though he had just finished being Jesus. And was selling y'all stuff, $300 a shirt. Shirts that look like, shirts that look like somebody was literally in the mud. You know how they say we came out the mud? They look like somebody was still wallowing in the mud in them shirts. Right? But when you think you're God, anything that you make. As a matter of fact, remember there's a famous interview to where he told you, like, I am God. And God's not even African. Could have said, at least I'm a Netcher, at least I'm on Yom Kippur, at least I'm a Nancy. Something. Right? Elohim is African. You could have at least said that. I don't necessarily like the fact that what's his face, Kendrick Lamar said that he's Elohim, but at least he was African. Then ran for president. Needed you to vote for God. How about that? Man-made gets us in trouble. He said he needs to take his natural meds. I haven't heard that one before. Shalom, Tamika, how you doing? So, this whole thing of when somebody tries to present, hey, the Bible's man-made, I mean, everything around you's man-made. Don't fall for the hype. At that point, you realize that you're talking to somebody. I don't care how many degrees they have, right? The Bible's man-made. I can't worship it. That is I'm trying to check it because I'm about to use a strong word. I won't say that is a fool. I will say that is somebody with a foolish argument, right? That is somebody with a very foolish argument. That's somebody who can't be taught. And remember that famous proverb, right? Minister Nice actually gave us a deeper version of the proverb this rising for early rising Bible study at those of us that were up 6:30 a.m. this rising, But remember the ancient saying, he that does not know that he does not know is a fool. Shun him. He that knows that he does not know is teachable. Teach him. He that knows that he knows is wise. Follow him, right? He that does not know, right? Hear what I'm saying? He that does not know that he does not know is a fool. Somebody who literally does not comprehend the fact that you are literally telling me that because something is man-made that it has no business being a reference point, but then literally will tell me that through a phone is a fool. At least is foolish. Shun whatever they're about to say next. Don't even pay attention to it. Because whatever they're about to say next, it's already fallible. You're dealing in the infallible, right, which is above man. And you're dealing with somebody who's dealing in straight fallible, who can't come outside of man, can't come outside of their own selves. Right? And we're trying to have this discussion with somebody, and it's not a real discussion, because at some point we have to recognize, wait a minute, you keep trying to bind me to man, but then at the same time tell me I have no limits? You said, is Jerusalem and Israel considered to be Africa? Israel is Africa. If you go to Israel, they have a big old sign in Israel. Matter of fact, somebody who's put that out for people to know actually was killed because he put that out. He literally showed people like the sign, and people got killed. But you can go see it for yourself. You can look it up. There's pictures of it. Do a Google image search, whatever, right? But there's a sign in Israel that literally says you're still, as far as the plates are concerned, you're still in Africa. Now, technically, remember, continent is a large landmass completely surrounded by water. All right, so that means that it has to be completely surrounded. Is Africa completely surrounded by water? No, it's connected. Asia, completely surrounded by water? No, it's connected. Europe, completely surrounded by water? No, it's connected. So by their definition, it's all water. Technically, there's only one continent, because all of the things that we see up top, they don't float. These continents don't float. They're connected to the earth, which means that it's still connected. But if you want to talk about what's above the water. Well, okay, you have parts of it that are above the waters. Those parts that are above the waters, they're the ones that are completely surrounded by water. At that point, you don't have 7 continents. You technically only have 4. North America and South America connected. We just talked about Africa, Asia, and Europe's all connected. Then you have Antarctica, and you have Asia. But somebody made up, man-made. Remember, Europe wasn't even in existence. Then eventually you had something called Eurasia. Now you have Europe, and Europe literally used to just mean Europa. Used to just mean it belonged to Rome. You said, yeah, there are certain Israelites who say that. Problem with that is that even when people say that they're not from Africa, which I get, it's kind of like I don't think people comprehend this, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready to take my leave soon. So I'm not going to go deep into this because we have class tonight. So I got to get ready for Hebrew characters class. However, a lot of people don't recognize what's going on with that too. The reason why people go there first a lot of times is because people don't know that this whole thing that now has become known as Black Hebrew Israelites, we don't declare ourselves as that, but this thing that's become known as Black Hebrew Israelites over time, it started because there was a brother in the early 1900s that was trying to get reparations. They wouldn't give us reparations as Black people. They didn't want to call us freedmen anymore. They didn't want to give reparations to Negroes. They didn't want to give reparations to copper-colored people. They didn't want to admit that we were Native. They had done the $5 Indian thing at this point. They were right. They said we didn't have the right IDs. All these different things that were going on, right? So you had this guy who says, okay, well, it's known around the world that Israel are Black people. And people say, well, how is that known around the world? Nobody knows it. Don't forget how easy it is to be able to get people to forget in a generation something ever existed, right? There are people who don't know what the Holocaust is, that are my age, believe it or not. There are people who went around, and you know how people go out and ask people questions and hope that they give foolish answers so they can post it on YouTube. There are people out there that literally don't even know what the Holocaust is. Now there are many Holocausts, right? But when people say the Holocaust, people usually mean the one that happened, the worst one that they consider to happen to white people, right? And I'm not saying it's something that we should demean. I'm just saying that's what people mean, right? That's why they say the Holocaust, as if there weren't tens of millions of people taken from Africa alone, let alone people that were killed, tens of millions of people that were killed in North America, South America, and in Australia, and et cetera, right? However, when you're dealing, and in Asia too, don't forget there are Black people in Asia too. Nevertheless, you're dealing with, there was a guy, so he's trying to get reparations. He knows that people consider us Israelites to be Black. And so people say, what do you mean? Well, don't forget too, that, and you can look this up, Israel wins whatever it was, the 5-day war, the 6-day war, the 7-day war, 6-day war, whatever it was. They win the war. They go to places like Egypt, not Kemet, because that's different, right? But Egypt. They go to the prime minister. They say to the prime minister, bow down to us. Bow down to Israel. Say that we are, in fact, a sovereign nation. Not necessarily bow down, but, admit that we're sovereign. They're waiting because in order to be a sovereign nation, somebody has to establish you that, right? America couldn't be established a sovereign nation until Morocco did it. Same type of thing, right? Allow us to be a sovereign nation. Tell the world that you accept our sovereignty. Tell the world that, that Israel is a sovereign nation. The prime minister said, I won't do it. They said, why won't you do it? What's wrong? He said, well, I know who the Israelites are, right? And I know who you are. He said, because you left Black and you came back white. In other words, he said, we got history. Kemet and Israel, we got history together. Remember that Kemet, Cush, Israel, Canaan, Carthaginians, Phoenicians, they all look like each other. So much so that where does Yashrai go to, or where is he taken to be hidden when he's young? He's taken to Kemet because he looked like them, right? Joseph, 11th tribe, married into them before the whole slavery thing happened. That's part of why the story is so crazy, because it was genocide from your own family, right? We look like each other. So we are the same people. We're mixed at least, right? But they'll say, no, we're not Kemet. We're not them. We came out of Kemet. Not realizing that coming out of Kemet doesn't mean that you didn't carry any blood. You're talking about coming out of a physical location and spiritually coming out of some things so that you could finally make sure that you can make great on what, or, could make the promise happen where the Most High. At first, he wasn't asking for you to even be freed. He was just saying he wanted you to go in the wilderness for 2 weeks to be able to worship him correctly. But you had this guy who was trying to get reparations, and since the world knew that black people were Israelites, what he said, okay, well, black people are Israelites. He made up the whole thing as far as the 12 tribes being connected to those countries. That's why people will tell you, oh yeah, Puerto Rico's one tribe, and America's Judah, and Haiti is this, and Cuba is this, and right, like that comes from him embellishing to be like, okay, everybody knows we're Israel. Everybody knows we came over on ships. That's not even something people really debate all over the world. Now they do, but it wasn't really something that was debated that much back then. So he said, okay, we'll just go ahead and come up with something. They still wouldn't give us reparations. He was trying to get all black people to be as Israelites. Now, is everybody that's black an Israelite? No. A lot of them are Hebrews, though, if you know the difference, because not every Hebrew is an Israelite, but every Israelite is a Hebrew, right? So the Hebrews there's more Hebrews out there than there are Israelites, which means there's more people that speak Hebrew as well, right? Yeah, he was able to blend because he looked like him, right? So, yeah, so you'll get that question. Nevertheless, though, that's why you have to know the truth. The truth shall create or make a place of freedom for you to exist in, right? And if we keep going off of the man-made and allowing them to tell us what we're saying is man-made, but we keep listening to all these lies, we're always going to lose every single time. That being said, though, thank you for being on. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the king and queen in each and every one of you. Even if you're not living inside that kingdom or queendom yet, I appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. We will be back on live tomorrow on the Rise at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time, and we will be back on 8 p.m. Eastern New York time. However, those who are Patreon members will be on live starting at 7, and we'll go through. If you're a Patreon member, make sure you look it up, look at the SOC symbol that's on there. The SOC, basically it's a picture of SOC written in the sand. Every time you see that coming up on a Tuesday, all you got to do is just go back to whatever one that is. From now on, we'll post them on Tuesdays, but there's one we've had posted for a few days to make sure you guys had a chance to go look in the comment section, get the link, be on with us at 7. Everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern New York time. For those who join us in the Risings, we'll be on at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. And we appreciate you. Don't forget, get yourself together. March 6th right around the corner. Make sure you start getting ready to get that leaven out your home. April 15th, right around the corner. It always comes faster than what you think. By April 11th, you need to have your lamb together, right? You need to have it selected. Even if you need us to help you with that process or send something to you, we'll do something similar to what we did last year. We'll make sure we have some packages and things together to make sure the stuff is there. But we got to know in advance how many of you guys would like to participate, right? So we can try and send you a little Passover package or whatever if you need to. If you're somebody that some people say, I'd rather not even look for it. I want to make sure I get the right thing, the right type of herbs, all those things. We're going to make sure those things are out there for you. So remember, that's coming up very soon. We appreciate you. Next, not this week, but the following week. That's going to be March 4th, the first Friday of next month. Every first Friday of each month, we try to go out in the community and be a blessing to somebody. So please be ready to do that. Please, ma'am, please, sir, be willing to serve your community. We're not looking for you to give us anything, show us any pictures. Just go be a blessing to somebody. March 5th, rather, is going to be when we have our next YLP 83 meeting. Those who are helping out with Yah's Land Project 83, making sure that we secure the land for us by October. So we'll have that next meeting coming up for you guys very soon. I do need to reach out to some of you guys who we weren't able to get on some of the Zoom meetings that we had concerning this not this week but last week. So look for a conversation to be had. Look for me to reach out to you sometime before March 5th, so that we're all on one accord. And once again, March 6th, that's when we get the leaven out of our homes. Sisters, do not forget, if you need the link, let us know. If you need us to email it to you so you don't have to wait for us to send it to you last minute. But sisters, do not forget, the women's meeting for you all is going to be on this Saturday, February the 26th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time. So feel free to join us for that. And we're excited. We'll be thankful and grateful to each and every one of you. And I'll try to send out a little reminder so we can have those who are on making sure they contact everybody for us. We'll make sure that we give a little reminder to them so that they can go ahead and make sure you guys are aware of those dates and things coming up. We appreciate you. We honor you. Please, as always, once again, check out my wife, The Honorable Mind. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, biologist by degree. If you need that little extra oomph on it, and she makes many tinctures and things to help heal people, even does some consultations. It's her personal business, so whatever she does with her business or whatever, just feel free to ask her about it. It's her business, so I don't answer but so many questions concerning her business, but she does a great job for the community, and she's a blessing. Just reach out to us. We'll make sure we get you that information. And we thank you so much. We honor you. We honor the king and queen in each and every one of you, even if you're not living inside that kingdom or queendom yet. We appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. We ask that you be hearers of the word, and but also we want you to study, meditate on it so you can be doers of the word. We want to execute, because this is our year, right, that we're transitioning into, because Passover time, not yet. So we're still transitioning into our year of what we're going to make sure that we live inside of that which we pursued. All last year, we were pursuing the promises of the Most High. We're transitioning from only pursuing them, or not just pursuing them, but making sure that we live in them every day. So we're thankful, we're grateful. We appreciate you. If you're still interested in taking classes, there's still room for Hebrew characters, basic Hebrew, Sovereignty 1, Sovereignty 2, Natural Medicine 2, basic French, and cryptocurrency. And we look forward to seeing you all later on. I'll see some of you guys very soon tonight. And until I have the next chance and opportunity and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. No, the calendar that we use as far as the new moon, it'll be at April 15th. So April 15th will be Passover for us. It's based off of the new moon. But it'll be April 15th. That's what, the third Friday? It's a Friday, right? I'm not even sure if it's a Friday. I have to look it up. I think it's a Friday, but whatever April 15th is, that's when we'll be having our Passover celebration. And of course, the week before, every evening, we're going to be having some festivities leading up to it. And you'll all be invited on Zoom if you'd like to come. And we're thankful and grateful to have you on with us. All right. Y'all have a great night. See some of you soon for Hebrew characters class. And to the rest of you, I shall see you tomorrow. Shalom. Peace.